Well, hello and welcome to a new episode of the Diary of a Wayshower. I have had quite a large gap here, haven't I, in recording any more episodes, but I decided that I think I'm going to open up and record some more. So this is the 13th episode, and there's been quite a big gap, as I say, since I last did one. So I thought I'd give you an update on um, my life, really, and what's happened since I told my story of what occurred for me in 2024 and the things that had happened before that. And I'm currently sat in a beautiful house in Gloucestershire, in the Cotswolds, and I am pet sitting a beautiful cat, and I'm enjoying it, really enjoying it. It's almost like a mansion, this place, and it's sort of a pleasure to live uh, in shall we say, luxury, for as little as it is, about 7, 8 days. But I've been pet sitting since probably May time. I last year let go my rental property in East Sussex. I was only there a year, 1 year, but it was a temporary place. I felt that. It was a place to land, a place to just get and find some roots and to get some stabilisation in my life, really. And I desperately needed it. And I ended up in a very beautiful, but it was a caravan. But it was like a lodge. It looked like a lodge, and it was a French caravan. It was the only one of its kind on the site. It was a park home, so there was a mixture of holiday, um, holiday sort of caravans, but there was also residential people, and there was park homes there. And I had a very unusual, shall I say, caravan that I told had been winterized and was able to be lived in all year round. And there was lovely decking around it, so I was able to sit out and have a table and chairs and things like that. But it was ever so cold. It was so cold that it made me cry. And I don't cry for silly things, but it was so cold. And I had the central heating on, and I, all of that, and it still was perishing. Uh, too cold for me. And that probably was a driving force to go, but also knowing that I didn't want to sit in East Sussex for too long. But it was the right place to be just as I settled down and got some sort of routine going and got working again, and got sort of teaching. So it really served me for that time. But I had a really inner calling to go to Egypt, and that had been running in the background for a couple of years actually, and I wanted to escape the winter anyway. And so about last summer, uh, I'd been down to the Shine seminars in Gloucestershire actually, and I'd been to Weston-super-Mare, hung around with my friends, amazing people, supportive people, and really sort of been to Glastonbury for a while, came back uh, and settled back in the place, and I just had this inner knowing that that was it. I was being called to move to Somerset. My time was drawing to an end there. And also, the Egyptian thing was running quite strongly. So, after thinking about it, it was my 60th birthday last September as well. I thought, do you know what? I can go away for winter to Egypt, but then I have to pay for two lots of rent. So I have to pay Egypt, rent in Egypt, and I have to pay rent in the UK, and that would be a bit sort of, challenging for me. So I decided to let go of the caravan, and it was the best decision I made actually. So I put everything into storage in December, and I didn't renew my contract on the 18th of December. So it was literally a week before Christmas. Everything went into storage, and I decided to go and uh, to Egypt just after Christmas. So I managed to spend Christmas with my son and his and his partner's family in Lancashire. Had a great time over Christmas. It was lovely to be with other people because the Christmas before that I'd spent on my own, and I was feeling a little bit, shall we say, sort of forlorn. uh, because it's the first Christmas I've ever spent on my own in my whole life. That was in December 2024. And excuse that noise, that's just my battery. And yeah, it was a interesting time. So I decided I could spend Christmas with my son and with others, and then fly off to Egypt, and that's what I did. I flew off to Luxor on the 29th of December, spent New Year there. I was quite ill when I first got there, actually, and I was energetically hit. Now, I wasn't planning to do any grid work, but you know that our higher selves have always plans, and everything ran very smoothly to get to Egypt in the first place. So I knew that probably they would want me to do something. I just didn't know what it would be. But oh wow, when I got to Egypt, I just was hit energetically so hard. And I really shield. I teach other starseeds how to shield. I teach all about starseed interference and targeting and abduction contracts and MK Ultra, satanic ritual abuse. I've got all of those skills to know how to sort of clear those things. But wow, they threw everything at me they could. And I was looking for the back doors, basically, like how can they get into my energetic field when it's so robust and I know I'm sovereign. What I found in the end, actually, it was the Anunnaki that were targeting me. And it was through an agreement or something that my oversoul took part in previous, shall we say, times on the, I think we call it the Biogenesis Council, which was when the Anunnaki were given permission to repair their DNA. It was almost like an agreement made with the Christos founder races, and permissions were given because they tried to persuade us that they were actually going to redeem and they would take their God spot back and blah, 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 blah. And it was all a ruse. It was all it didn't work out. It was always not going to work. But I was on that council, apparently, or my oversoul was on that council, which was when the agreement was made. And they were using that energy of the agreement and the fact that my oversoul was on the council to be able to access me. Very interesting. They must have been sort of opening up that timeline or entering that timeline to almost like access my energy. Even though, I managed to get rid of them. As soon as they'd come in, then, a little battle would ensue for a few minutes normally, and then we would clear it. But it was rough, I'll tell you. It was rough. Anyway, I enjoyed Luxor. It was amazing. I had a gorgeous apartment. Overlook, we had the Nile right by us. Amazing. We ended up doing some amazing grid work out there that was stunning, that I didn't expect was going to be done. It's the biggest grid work I've ever done in my life. I also had some amazing grid keepers and workers come out to join me. B and David, who are the bars of Avalon, but B and David, who are very powerful souls, uh, came, and good friends of mine came and were called to come and join me. And my lovely friend Sarah Salmon, who knows me and David as well. She's she's an author and researcher and teacher, and she's written about 12 books. Amazing knowledge. I'd say she is the UK's Lisa Renee. You know, she has the knowledge of the Akashic records of the true history of the galactic wars, and her ability to access that is unbelievable. The field she can hold to pull down the information from the Guardian Founder races. And I pull my information down from the Guardian Founder races, and also B does as well. And David, I think, is on a lot of, shall we say, Syrian Palladian councils. So, we get a plethora of wisdom and knowledge coming down from different angles, all interlinked together, if you see what I mean. It all goes in the pot, and it's always in alignment. We all get goosebumps. It's just amazing. It's just an amazing friendship we have, all of us. And the four of us can really do a lot. And then we've got someone in the background now, Felix, who is another amazing blueprinter, Felix Hyde. He's a blueprinter like myself, and Sarah's a blueprinter. And we hold the blueprints for humanity, and we can access them. And we can access the blueprints to bring a new blueprint down for New Earth. So, and also bring a template back to its pure and pristine condition as Source created it. So, there's a lot of us working the grids together, doing work, representing, as I say, other, representing the Guardian Founder races. And the guardians of this universal time matrix. And so, yeah, we did some amazing work in Egypt just before I left, actually, towards the end. And we did a lot of work to start to disintegrate the false ascension timeline, the false light matrix, which was anchored in via Egypt at a particular time, and we were able to dissect that and bring it in and anchor the organic ascension timeline properly, and sort of wipe out an energy of what shall I say, of amnesia, like humanity and amnesia, and not really remembering where they came from, how galactic they are, their galactic origins, their multidimensional selves. And we were able to anchor in via the stargates in Egypt, and very powerful places. We were able to take that false sort of energy out of, shall I say, the seed atom of Egypt, and place back in the organic true record of what and who we are. And that sort of then feeds down into many of the parts of Egypt. And we had to do the Nile, so I managed to get a Nile cruise, and I had to go down to Aswan, start at Aswan before they arrived, and I light gridded the whole of the Nile, from Aswan, Philae Temple, right up to the point I was sitting on, which was a nexus point for the Nile. And where I was sat and placed was absolutely spot on, and dropping crystals down the Nile. And then I had a major master crystal, a quartz that I'd worked with for quite a long time, and someone who's very linked to, shall we say, the Egyptian dynasties. And I got that crystal from another very good friend, and I'd held it for a year or two, and it had been to New York with me, and it had been to Sedona with, it had been different places. and then it was holding quite a codex, and then I was guided that I had to drop that into the Nile over the nexus point, which I managed to do on ship, on board, right at the right time, which that was a great accomplishment to do that. I was so happy that that just worked perfectly. It worked perfectly, as it does when the divine's in charge. So that's a little bit of a story of what we did. So it was just a surreal thing. It was massive. We all felt it was massive, and it was the biggest work any one of us individually had done as well. So that was just an amazing thing we did, and I was so happy that sort of, I helped facilitate that by leading and going to Egypt first, and then it all dropping in for everybody else. And so after 3 months, I came back and wanted to find a home. And I had the idea that I would be finding a home straight away, but actually it wasn't destined. And after a false start of trying to get a flat in Langport, which I thought I was going to get, to last minute, like thinking I was getting it, and then the landlord changing his mind and giving it to someone else. But it was meant to be. It was how the divine wanted it to be. And I then realised, I got a huge download that you can't settle down yet. You have to grid Somerset. I was thinking, oh, here we go again. You have to grid Somerset. You have to move around. So I discovered pet sitting. And it'd been mentioned before by a few friends. And I just went on Trusted House Sitters, signed up, got their premium sign membership, went up, started looking for something to stay in. Immediately, I got a 3.5 week gig in Bridgewater, which actually served me so well. So I ended up in Bridgewater, managed to get all my stuff out of storage in East Sussex, bring it down to Bridgewater for a bargain price. And so all of my stuff now is sitting in Bridgewater in storage, which is quite interesting in itself. And then I managed to, book these different things, one in Tetbury, one in, all these different places, Bath in Somerset, all these different places that seemed to be coming out at me as soon as I looked at them. And they just fitted perfectly into the next few months. And every one that I applied for came back almost instantaneously, yes, which to me was, you're meant to be here. And so I ended up doing that. So I'm in an area near Malmesbury right now, and I'm supposed to be here. I know I am. I'm anchoring here right now. And then I'm moving on to, I think it's Clevedon next on the coast, which I'll really enjoy, actually, and that's for a few weeks. And then I've got one just outside of Bath, which is great. I've got one down towards Taunton in August. I've got one in London, but the London one is actually because I'm going to see my son. So I've taken a little pet sitting job in London so that I can see my son. So I think I'm booked up till September. It's interesting, I can't seem to get anything past September. It's like it may end in September, so we'll see. We'll see. I'm open. But just enjoying moving around. But just a bit frustrating with things you have to pack up, put things away, and that just has been a little bit disruptive to my work, really. In my teaching, my one-to-one sessions, I can fit them in, so it doesn't matter. I can move. But teaching, knowing where you'll be, can I do a 2-day course? Oh no, I can't do it that day because I'm on the move. It's all that sort of thing that really can sort of throw you off. So it can't be something that is going on too long, or it will disrupt my my teaching. So, as I say, it's ending in September, which I'll be really probably grateful for, and then we'll find somewhere to live, and the divine will provide me. I know that. I've got good faith, But it can be tiring doing this, you know, and I'm not a young woman. I'm not a spring chicken, you know. So you get a little bit tired, more tired when you're an older, you know, as you're bound to, aren't you? You haven't got the energy of a 30-year-old, have you? So, but I'm really enjoying spending time with the cats. I love cats. So that feline energy, anyway, of the Lyrians, which is very much part of my soul lineage, from the Guardian founder races, and the Lyrian energy is very linked to me. So the feline energy is doing me good right now. I'm really enjoying, and it's company as well. So it's all good. It's all good. Yeah, and we're just in such amazing times. The energy I know is intense at times. It's exhausting, but it's really just, you know, the the atmosphere of the solar cords coming in, and the plasma is just bringing everything up to be looked at. Everything that's inauthentic, everything that is not in alignment, everything that is built on untruth, is being shown more and more, as we can see in the world right now. And we have to be optimistic. Yeah, I'm very much an optimist. We're in charge. The divine's got this. We haven't waited all this long to do this now without knowing what we needed to do and getting it right. And we are getting it right. I feel it in every bone in my body. And so I trust that the plan is working perfectly. And if, you know, the nefarious alien races, the nefarious agenda that's been going on, the parasites which are running this world, won't be running it for much longer. And also, anything they try to do, we tend to flip it back at them. So, you know, recently, I don't know if you saw, I'm just moving a chair. Recently, the flash flooding in Glastonbury, which occurred, and those storms. I received some of that storm. I was in Mere, about, I don't know, 20 minutes outside of Stonehenge, and we saw some of that light show. But anyway, that huge deluge in Glastonbury, I really felt was, okay, geoengineering, they were messing around with the weather. But actually, we turned it and flipped it to our advantage, and that's what we do. So anything they try and do in the world to cause ill intent and to cause suffering and misery, whatever it is, it's not going to work and it's not going to be successful. And the divine then flips the energy and does something with it. And and I've been speaking to my peers about this, and we're all in agreement and confirmation that that energy was flipped, so that when the deluge came down in Glastonbury, it was purification. Now, Glastonbury does need purification, as you probably are aware of. And, the Avalon Library was deluged with water. Now, there is a nefarious portal around that area. I can't tell you exactly where it is, but I have worked on it and others to shut it down. And, symbolically, that the Aleister Crowley books were damaged in that flood, to me, gave me, a shiver, actually, when I read it. And I immediately heard that that was a symbolic sign of the energy of black magic will be cleansed and cleared from this space and place. There's a lot of black magic that goes on in Glastonbury. Some of you will be aware of that. If you live in Glastonbury, you'll know there is a dark element there. There is a light element there as well. There's lots of lovely, amazing light workers and starseeds in Glastonbury, which I'm very fond of. Some of them are my friends there. But there is a very dark element, hijacking the White Spring, doing all sorts of nefarious things. Now, I have heard firsthand what goes on in the White Spring by someone who told me something very, very shocking that was horrific and linked to satanic ritual abuse. Now, that is being done at the White Spring to suppress, as we know, the sacred site and the frequency and the energy. That's entirely what they're doing. And there are a lot of black magic overlays sitting over Glastonbury. And it's a very big hotspot. And there's a lot of, shall we say, inverted technology being used over Glastonbury right now. And there was a lot of work was done last year to start bringing in the light technology to disband that and clear that. So, the divine will have their way. They will bring back it to its true vibration in divine timing. But I just felt that was very symbolic, that the divine had the last laugh there, really. Now, I'm not saying that I want people's books to be damaged and blah, 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 blah. But it depends on what they are. And words have power and books have power. Don't ever think they don't. So, black magic books are not to be read and they're not to be consumed, And if you've read a black magic book, make sure you rescind it and clear and cancel it afterwards. So, them being damaged, I felt that was a good thing, because let's just be honest, Aleister Crowley is sort of linked very deeply to satanic ritual abuse, because he used to actually write and tell people about rituals of what to do was best for blah, 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 and it would involve child sacrifice and murder. Right? Now, that is not right. We know that, right? And he actually has been a big force for Hollywood and the elite, and they have used those rituals to do what they do to gain their power. And also they use those rituals, which they're still doing now, to try to generate the power that they need, because they can't do it in any normal way because they are inverted. So he's got a lot to answer for. Therefore, we cannot glorify him, or the Thelema crowd, whatever. They are, they're contracted to the satanic forces, So I wouldn't want to be in that energy, because I've been in it. Because remember, I was satanically ritually abused, right? And any survivor of satanic ritual abuse, and you tell them, about Aleister Crowley, he's linked to all of this. So no, it's not right. And I clapped. Yes, get rid of the bloody books, So I just felt that was very symbolic. So yeah, we've got a lot going on the planet, and if we just follow our hearts and we stay in positivity and in alignment with the divine and the divine plan and what the divine plan is for you, we are absolutely fine, and we always will be. And also holding that Christos frequency helps lift the vibration of this planet and helps us get there quicker, so it's very important. So yeah, just giving you a catch up on my life, really. My academy is growing. I have an amazing membership now, which I'm going to be really getting more into in the next few months. As soon as I'm going to really sort of build that up. I've got students coming through for quantum plasma bridge training, which actually is Starseed activation, really. So, if you want a super boost and you want to make sure that you clear your interference and you clear any contracts and you work on lifting, the energy of suppression off you, then I really highly recommend training in Quantum Bridge, because it's a training for you. I'm training you how to go and do the work for yourself. And then for those that do heal or have a healing service, they can incorporate that into their own healing service. But it doesn't mean you have to become, or open up for business by training in Quantum Bridge. It's actually a huge personal tool, and I have seen so many people grow through using the Quantum Bridge. So it's absolutely a pleasure to do it and host it. And I've now got a new addition to Quantum Bridge training, which is my Universal Divine Law course, which is launching on the 9th of September for Starseeds and Lightworkers. And I'm really, really chuffed about that. That will be an amazing course. And I think it's a 7-week course. And Sarah Salmon is co-teaching. She's doing a couple of sessions of that for me. And adding her expertise into that course as well, so that we really educate Starseeds and Lightworkers on how to use Universal Divine Law properly. Because as soon as you evoke Universal Divine Law, it comes into your field. And as you bring Universal Law and evoke it into your energetic field, it is like a shield. And it's also it's almost like it's arrows that cut through any black magic or cut through any interference or nefarious energy, which is either there in the background and you didn't know it was there, or is trying to come in. Such a useful knowledge, and I'm going to provide lots of universal law statements as part of it. Talk about noticing how you can notice an energy, notice a being, notice a soul who is messing around with you. Yeah. Or trying to, is up to no good. Put it that way. So we're going to teach you all about that. And it's such a thing to have, and about divine self-sovereignty and what it means to be a divine sovereign being. You know, what that means for you in normal everyday life, what it means for you as a starseed, what it means for you for the ascension timeline. So, I'm just so looking forward to teaching that, because this is my absolute joy. I'm so enthusiastic about Universal Divine Law. Been teaching it for years, writing these divine law statements for years, and they have worked for many, many people, and myself. Freemasonry contracts and abduction contracts and ancestral contracts, and it really does help so much. I can't sort of tell you how important Universal Divine Law, the Law of One teachings from the Guardian Founder Races and Mother Father God Source, and yeah, it's we're talking about karma. We're talking about how it's delivered and how to deliver it, how to send it back to someone who has sent you karma which is not yours to carry. And then you sending it back, talking about karmic lords, when people are carrying the karma of many souls on their back and they don't realise. We're going to be talking about all of that. It's fascinating stuff. So come and join us. And the early bird is on actually at the minute at 333 till, I don't know, a date in August, which I can't remember. I think the first week of August or something like that. And then it goes up to 444. And it's also reduced for all of my Quantum Bridge people that have trained with me in the past or are training right now. It's £222 for them. So putting a little advert in there in the middle of it. But I'm so much better than when I started. You can imagine when I first started talking on the podcast, I was in such grief. The grief just consumed me. in fact, I didn't know what to do with it. It was so bad. And now I am so much better. Time does heal. It does. When you do the work, when you set the intention that you're going to release it. But what I did do recently as well, I took some hawthorn flower essence, and that or hawthorn tree essence actually, that actually really helped. And in fact, one particular night, oh, did I release a huge amount of heart pain, that I didn't know. I thought I was trying to release it by talking, but actually it needed to come out of my body, which it did. And ever since then, I felt so much lighter and brighter, with seeing a future, seeing plans that I want to make happen start to move towards me, which, in the past I never saw any movement. So it wasn't time, was it? It wasn't time. But yeah, I just wanted to say that time is a great healer, and the story of what happened with my husband who died, and since then I've had confirmation that he's in a better place. He's not fully, shall we say, whole, but he is a lot in a nicer place, put it that way, than he was before. So that for me helps me rest and sleep at night. Even though he had his own issues, his own things, getting wrapped up in nefarious stuff, but he was targeted in Atlantis, and many were targeted in Atlantis. So who am I to know? I don't have great detail about what happened to him in Atlantis, but I know some of it, and it's sort of, we all have been through times of being targeted or being taken over. We all will have experienced darker lives at some stage, I would have thought, for us to experience and integrate and realise, the difference between right and wrong and whatever. But I just have to let that go. But it's hard at times to do that. But I'm getting better at it. Put it that way. I'm getting better at being able to live without that horrible burden of grief which has been sitting over my heart and on my shoulders, basically. So I feel so much lighter and brighter now than I did do last year. And hopefully 2027 will be even better. But yeah, it's very interesting times. Very interesting times. We came here to witness this. We came here to see this and witness this. And remember, our oversouls, right, are sitting in a very high dimension. We're star-seeded. That means that we sit quite often on a council, a Palladian council, a Sirian council, a Lyrian council, Arcturian council, and we've been sent down because we've got these gifts and abilities, and that they're needed boots on ground here right now for this moment in time. So therefore, we do know what we're doing. On some level, we know what we're doing, and we're here to witness it too. So quite often we're reporting back. We're sending images. We're sending knowledge and a recording of events, so that the councils who are not down here and have not been able to quite often access what's really going on, boots on ground, and we're able to report back and show them what's happening. And that's so useful. They need that. They need to know what's really happening so that they can plan, and also they can work out what do we need to do next. Because the divine plan is such a big plan. So you're part of this. You're part of this, and I'm proud to witness this. I'm proud to be here to see this through, and I want to see it through. I want to I want to be able to sit with me, I don't know, cup of tea on New Earth, and go, we got here, we got here, we got here. And with that, I think I might wrap this up. This is just a little introduction to me starting to record again. I will be doing hopefully an episode every couple of weeks, so look out for them. And just be proud of yourselves for being here at this time, and give yourself that love and that compassion. You know, we're human. We're having a human experience. Yes, we're star-seeded, but we're having a human experience. And therefore, it's okay for us to experience human emotions. If it's anger or whatever, it's okay. We're human. We're having a human experience. We're not standing on top of a mountain as a saint in white robes, meditating 23 hours a day. You know, we don't need to do that to make us more spiritual. You're spiritual already. You're a starseed already. You are doing the work on the ground. You know, your biggest job and most important job is to hold your frequency. It's to hold your heart frequency very high by playing, having fun, being kind, hanging around with other beautiful, kind and loving people, having fun, singing, dancing, being of service. That is the field. That is the field of New Earth. Yeah, that is New Earth. So with that, I'm going to say goodbye for now, and thank you for listening, and I will be back with another episode soon, and just sending you all my love. Keep going. We've got this. We're doing a grand job. There is so much to look forward to. There is so much we can do. What I will say is we need to collaborate now. It's not about ego between people, right? I'm better than them or they're better than me. It's about us collaborating together in groups and bringing new structures, new ideas, new ways of doing things. You know, that is our way forwards. That is the New Earth underpinning, is collaboration and building things together to help more people. And that will take us a long way and will help us to get there, and to get there quicker, instead of people backbiting each other or thinking they're superior, which they're not. There's a lot of that, isn't there, that goes on in the New Age movement. And I'm not New Age. I don't count myself as New Age. You know, I'm just teaching the law of one, and I am teaching the Guardian Founder Race's teachings. That is what I came here to do. And this is what I came here to emanate, and show and Wayshow for others, so that they can see that this is the way. If you resonate, everybody has their own opinion and their own way, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, lots of love, everybody. Take care for now, and I'll talk soon. Bye.